there are no easy answers here. Like, you're not gonna walk away feeling like you won a prize. Hi, I'm Natalie. Thank you for stopping by. I sell vintage and pre-loved designer accessories at styledunder.com. My channel is all about slow fashion, sustainability, as well as health and wellness. If this is your first time here, welcome. I drop videos 2 days a week, every Mondays and Wednesdays, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I wanted to talk today about lupus and steroid use because that is a big part of the culture of treatment of lupus. In the past, the most steroids I ever took was like 3 milligrams. And that was like the maximum. And even on that, like I was like super like weird and loopy because steroids just make you feel weird. And now I'm like on 60 milligrams of steroids, which is like, and when you start getting into these high dosage of steroid use, there are a lot of other side effects that come about that you may not have had to deal with before. So the video today is going to be some of the side effects associated with steroids for those of you who are considering using steroids. Now, before I get into this, I want to say I understand why some people don't do a good job of staying on top of their lupus treatment, because it is a lifelong journey. It's not like if you do all these things, you're going to be cured and you won't have to worry about it anymore. That's not how it works. You could do all these things to perfection and you could still deal with symptoms, still have flare-ups, still have setbacks that you have to overcome. It's a lot of managing your behavior, taking responsibility for your life and your body, and really staying on top of it. There's all these meds that you have to take, and all these meds have all these side effects. So you have to plan for that. I understand why some people struggle with managing their health when they have lupus or any other chronic illness, because it's not easy. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work for the rest of your life. Like, there's no end point and there's no reward. There's no, like, once you get there, then you're like, oh, I did all this stuff and now I'm here. I'm here. I don't have to think about it anymore. Like, who needs that? You know, it doesn't work that way. You always have to stay on top of it. And that can be exhausting. It takes a certain level of commitment and dedication that may not always be there. So with that being said, some people choose not to manage their lupus with medication, specifically because the lupus meds are really harsh on the body. And then when you couple that with the steroids, it's a whole nother ball game. Like, it's like legit, like it's high level games you're playing now. It's not for the weak. It's not for the weak. Let me tell you, it is a life altering experience. All of it is, you know. So with lupus, what happens is that your body gets inflamed. So there's inflammation happening in the body. So the purpose of the steroids is to help to slow down the molecules' response to that inflammation. So it does a really good job of doing that, which is, let's calm everything down. However, when that process takes hold in your body over an extended period of time, it creates other issues. One of them is, that I just learned recently, is steroid-induced acne. I have not had acne like this since I was a teenager. Another thing is this round face that I have. I look like I've gained 20 pounds, but I have not. My clothes are still the same. My clothes fit the same way. What happens is you get something called like a moon face or a moon shape with the medication. You get this kind of like water weight effect where your face physically looks different. Like, my face is like shaped differently than it was shaped before. You know, with everything that I deal with on a regular basis that I am managing, if the worst thing that happens is that I'm 10 pounds heavier and my clothes still fit the same way, I'll take it if it means that I get to feel better. You bruise easily. It also causes insomnia. You're also more likely to have infections. You know, there are also concerns about like cataracts, osteoporosis, death of bone tissue due to lack of blood supply in the bone. It can also create joint pains, which is kind of insane because the actual lupus illness creates joint pains. This is where medication gets a little weird, where the medication that they're giving you to heal you from the pain that you're having creates the same issue that you were having before you started taking the medication. Now, how much sense does that make? Riddle me that. Unfortunately, you know, lupus is still a disease that doesn't have a cure. Until the medical community has a cure, a lot of this is just like trial and error, where they give you things that help with some things, and other things that they don't really have a solution for. Muscle weakness is a common thing that comes with the steroid use as well. Irritability, anxiety, depression, narrowing of the blood vessels, which sometimes comes with Raynaud's as well. A third of lupus patients have Raynaud's, and Raynaud's is basically, a narrowing of the arteries in your extremities, your hands and your feet, where the blood doesn't flow. So what happens is your hand, when they're warm, this is the color that they are. But then when it gets cold, all of a sudden this would look like whitish. That natural color that you have in your hand and feet will change to this color. And it will take a long time for you to be able to get the heat back in your hands and your feet. And it's quite painful, actually. So all that to say, it's plus and minuses. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do with your health or with your life. That's something that you have to take up with your physician. But I just want to talk about the reality of the fact that getting effectively treated for lupus oftentimes means inviting more physical pain into your life. So either way you slice it, you're dealing with something that is uncomfortable that you don't want to deal with, but that is a part of your life. That's just the way that it is. I'm in favor of like a holistic approach. There are other natural things that you can do to reduce your discomfort. But as far as like actual treatment, reducing the inflammation in your body, which is causing the disease or the symptoms of the disease that you're having, there are no other solutions. And it sucks. But that's the reality of it. For me, the goal is to live a healthy and happy life. And whatever that looks like is what I'm going to do. I'm not dealing with other things that make my life a lot more challenging, because before I was diagnosed, things were really, really bad. So I would rather deal with this than what I was dealing with before. But that's me. You might feel differently. To you, it might feel like I could deal with this 24/7. Why put some other things in my body that make me feel like this? And that's you. And that's perfectly fine. You just have to do what works for you. A healthy diet is important for everybody, but it's especially important for people with lupus because your weight has an effect on your Raynaud's. So if your body carries more weight, it's going to put more pressure on your joints, which is going to increase your pain. So it's really about reducing the pressure on your joints by making sure that your weight is within what is normal range for you. So luckily, I don't have a whole lot of work to do, but that's definitely like my next thing to work on, just being a little bit more conscious of my weight. The way that I eat hasn't really changed much. I'm still eating vegan. That hasn't changed. I'm still eating healthy. That hasn't changed. I was eating healthy before I got sick, so I'm not gonna all of a sudden be a different human being, like out in these streets trying different things. Like, I know what works for me, and that's what I stick with. The weight gain I know is a result of the meds, but I do need to make some adjustments to my diet now that the meds are here so that, my weight does not continue to increase. The last thing I wanted to say about steroids is that if your doctor put you on steroids and you decided that you don't like it, you don't enjoy the experience, and you want to get off of it, the last thing you want to do is just to abruptly get off of it. If you don't like it, don't just get off of it. You're not going to like what happens next. You're not going to like it. So it's better for you to work with your doctor to get off of it. I mean, it's your life. It's your choice. You get to decide how you want to navigate lupus your way. Don't let them push you around. They know how to best treat the disease, but they don't know you. They don't know what's best for you. So always make sure you're advocating for yourself. You're speaking up. You're using your voice. You're standing up for yourself. You ask questions. You do what's best for you. And you make sure that whatever it is that you choose to do is what's best for you. Just because they've done this a million times with a million people doesn't mean those million people are you. You're your own unique person with your own set of circumstances. You want to honor that in the decision making that you're doing. And that, whatever it is that they're offering you, you want to make sure that it works for you. Because if it's not working for you, then what's the point? Either way, it doesn't affect their lives. It's your life. So you have to take responsibility for your life. Whatever you decide to do, you make sure that it's the best thing for your life. So I'm noticing I'm getting a lot of subscribers that are coming to my channel because of my lupus video. And I just want to make sure that I stop regularly to talk about it, because I don't want you to feel like you're alone if that's why you came, because you want community. I want to be, a part of that community for you. Of course, I'm not a doctor, but a lot of times when you're going through a difficult thing, it's helpful when somebody else is going through that same difficult thing. It makes you feel less alone. Even if they don't have the solution to your problem, it makes you feel less alone to see a face, another human being going through something similar. Living with a chronic illness is not an easy thing. It's very, very challenging. And unless you live with it, you don't really know what people are going through. And the worst thing with lupus is that, you know, you look normal to most people. So they look at you and they're like, but you're fine. You look great. I remember even before, now that I have the moon face, people might stop and go, oh, but you look different. They may not think that I look sick, but they'll at least like notice a difference. But before, when I looked like I looked in the video when I talked about my diagnosis, people were like, but you look beautiful. What's the problem? It's like, that has nothing to do with anything. Apples and oranges, like, you know, it's like, that's why it's not good to just like judge a book by its cover. You know, some disabilities are invisible to the eye. People have things going on in their lives that you're not always going to see with your eyes. That's just a reality. And I'm sorry your eyes cannot see all the things, but that's life. Sometimes there's some illnesses that people have that you can't see. So when you have an illness that you can't see, it's really hard, especially because people will have a hard time understanding that you could be going through all of that, but you could look normal to them. And it makes it hard for them to relate. And it's not that they don't want to relate or they don't want to be helpful. They just don't understand it. And because they don't understand it, they just like don't know how to help you and don't know what to do with the information. That's why it's really important to have community. If you don't know anyone in your real life or anyone in your family who has lupus, I would encourage you to really look into building a community, connecting with a community, because all this stuff sounds crazy to people who are not a part of the community. But once you get inside the community and start meeting other people, it's like, oh, you go through that too. Okay, I thought it was just me. And then suddenly it's like, now I get it. I feel seen, I feel heard. And it's really important to have that, because this is a lifelong thing that we're going to be dealing with. That's pretty much my take on lupus and steroids. Yeah, I have enough drugs in my body. Yeah, I don't need anything else. I think I have enough. And I'm grateful for the care that I am receiving and for my body, because my body keeps impressing me every step of the way. I'm so grateful to have a body that can heal itself and that can make changes. Count your blessings. Life isn't perfect. It never is. It never will be. If it wasn't lupus, it would be something else. I promise you that. For me, it's really all about working with the negatives as much as you can and managing that, you know, because life is never going to be free from the negatives. That's not how it works. Anyone that tells you that is lying to you. You know, if you're not going through a hard time right now with anything in your life, don't worry, it's coming. Everybody gets their turn, because that's life. It can't always be good. You know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's challenging. That's life. At the end of the day, you want to make decisions that honor your full self, your whole being, and that are in harmony with, you know, the kind of life that you want to live. You know, for me, in spite of all that I just mentioned in this video, taking the steroids meds and the lupus meds is the very best thing that I can do, and I don't regret my decision, and I feel really good about it. For you, that may not be the case, and that's okay. Just make sure that you're being true to yourself. Okay? All right, well, thanks so much for watching. That's all that I had for today. If you like this video, give it the thumbs up. I drop videos 2 days a week, every Mondays and Wednesdays. Remember to subscribe to my channel for content on slow fashion, sustainability, as well as health and wellness. You can shop my pre-loved and vintage designer accessories at styledunder.com and connect with me on social media at styledunder25. Until next time, au revoir!